Stop it. Stop it.
And with that, welcome to the Sales Lab Podcast.
The Sales Slap Podcast, where we hit you with the hard truths, bold strategies, and expert insights you need to master the art of selling. And who's leading the charge? Meet your hosts, Rick Denley, Simon Hares, and Scott Donald. Get ready for real talk, expert advice, and game-changing strategies. Because in sales, you don't just play, you slap. Let's dive in.
And diving in today, welcome to the Sales Slap Podcast. We're joined by someone who proves that you can be the president of a major food company and still look like you just stepped off a runway. Yes, our guest Michael Cheung leads TFI Foods by day and apparently moonlights as a model by night. So if you're listening and thinking, wow, this guy sounds handsome, have a look at him. Trust us, he is. But beyond the cheekbones and the camera-ready smile, Michael is a powerhouse leader in the food industry. He's built teams, navigated massive industry shifts. I'd even say created those industry shifts, and leads with a level of authenticity that's not just refreshing, it's transformative. His journey of embracing his true self has shaped the way he leads, builds culture, and creates space for every voice at the table. We're diving into leadership, identity, sales, and yes, maybe a little bit about that modeling side gig. And the good news is, too, Michael's a great friend of mine, and I appreciate having him on the show. He's also a dog dad. We were talking about Hugo in the green room before we stepped into this as well. Michael, welcome to the show. We're thrilled to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited about joining today, and it's been just great getting to know you, obviously you, Rick, and then Simon and Scott. So thank you.
Great, we appreciate it. We're going to have a little leadership slant on this one as well, which I know Simon said would be great for us as well. So, Michael, first off, just tell us a bit about yourself, just briefly, if you will. I already introed you, but as well, where are you calling in from today?
Yeah, so I'm calling in. I'm actually sitting in my office at our TFI headquarters. So we're located at 5945 Airport Road, right across the street from Pearson Airport. This is a newer office for us. We were at our previous space for over 33 years. We were faced with, rising costs of rent, and it just didn't make sense for us to stay in that building. So we went completely out of the box thinking and split up our parts and equipment warehouse. And we've partnered with a third-party logistics company called Proactive Supply Chain Solutions. And so they run all of our equipment and parts. And we have our sales office and showroom right here in Mississauga. Brand new state-of-the-art showroom. We have a completely ventless cooking technology, and of course, all of our 3 equipment lines: Taylor, Henny Penny, and Frankie Coffee Systems.
Incredible. And I had the opportunity to work with you and your sales team in the past and see some of this. You already mentioned something that I always respect about your leadership style. It's that collaboration piece. And you're collaborating with other suppliers, even when you moved your building. One of the big concerns I know when you moved your building was about the staff and the people. And you really did a survey with them and worked with them as well. You didn't just pick up and move and say, hey, hope you can make it to the new office, which is really your style of leadership. Let me ask a question of you right now. Leading in the food industry requires both operational excellence, which you just mentioned, and people-centered leadership. How do you define effective leadership at TFI Foods? And what principles guide the way that you develop those teams and drive the business forward?
Yeah, I would say, first and foremost, at TFI, our people come first. We always make decisions based on, our people and our customers. It's important to us. It's one of our core values at TFI. And I think that contributes to so much loyalty. The average tenure at TFI is about 15 years. We have, our longest employee. He's been with the company for 45 years, still working and still going strong. And, it's a big part of who we are in the fabric of our company.
Wow, that's really great. When you think about people first type of leadership, that's really what we look for now, isn't it? And it's our ability to attract and retain that top talent through focusing on people. I'll ask you another question. You've spoken openly about, embracing yourself and your authenticity. How has that journey shaped your leadership style and really strengthened your ability to build deep relationships with people And this is a big one for me because you and I really highlighted a key strength of yours, which is being able to influence people as well, and the way you approach that type of DEI and team culture. I would say at TFI and with a lot of your suppliers and customers.
Yeah, very much so. I think, I'll touch a little bit on that. My life really didn't start to take off until I was living authentically myself, or until I was being authentically myself. I struggled for a long time with my sexuality. I was very scared to, own my sexuality and be comfortable with myself. And I struggled for quite some time, and it wasn't until I was comfortable and, I went through the whole coming out process, from that moment on, and I was so lucky because I had such a wonderful experience. But from that moment on, my life just soared, continued to soar. I fell into this position at TFI, and it's taught me that, to seek to understand people first and listen and be patient and really just not to judge and to think about my experience and how could I apply that to leading people in an organization. When I joined TFI, I joined as a salesperson. And I struggled for a little bit in terms of what difference was I making and contributing to the people around me and to my world, so to speak. And it wasn't until I stepped into a leadership role and I had the ability to mentor and guide through my shared experiences, whether professionally or personally. And it gave me the ability. It really fueled a passion behind leadership, and it gave me the ability to connect on a deeper level with employees. And I truly think that that's contributed to my success. I certainly don't lead with an ego. And, I would say there are some, differing opinions on how personal I can get, but with other people, I certainly don't share everything, of course, but I think it allows me to connect with my staff and my team. And we have a very good, a strong culture at TFI, and I think that contributes to part of it.
Wow, that's really incredible. Yeah, thank you. Co-hosts here, we got Simon and Scott on. Great to see you guys as usual as well. And I was really glad to have Michael on our podcast as well, because like I say, not only is he a business colleague for years, he's a friend as well. And I really wanted to be able to bring him on and have him share some of his stories and the great work that he does as a leader. Guys, what do you think about what's Michael said so far? You want to expand on that? I know.
Well, I want to just jump in on something you mentioned about the tenure in your business. You said that your longest serving person is 45 years and that the average length of tenure is 15 years.
Yes, that's great. Yep.
So how do you keep things fresh for them?
Well, that's the thing. So there's been so much change that has come to our business, and I can, I'll kind of share the evolution. So, TFI was founded in 1954 by two gentlemen by the name of Tom and Jerry Kappas. And, they ran the business. Tom and Jerry, yes, Tom and Jerry, yes. I was waiting for someone to say that. Yeah, thank you. And they started as a Taylor distributor, and then we quickly, I'd say a few years after that, in the mid '80s, we brought on the Henny Penny line, and for the longest time, we were selling Taylor and Henny Penny in the market, and servicing it to within the Greater Toronto area. Fast forward to the '90s, the business had as it had grown, of course, continuing to populate, our territory with these equipment lines, and service it as well. It wasn't until I'd say about the early 2000s when we started to focus on growing the service business. And so with all of this change and building out our service business, different challenges and different initiatives have come our way. So, the business is ever evolving. We're continuously looking to be more sophisticated. How do we offer, a sophisticated service delivery? And I'll touch upon it probably a little bit later on the show. But you're always bringing new, fresh ideas to the business. How do we continue to drive our customer experience through service and equipment, and how do we make it easier for our customers to do business with us? So I know that's a very roundabout way of answering your question, but it's just continuous change
Yeah.
and evolving and becoming more and more sophisticated so that our customers have less to worry about. They can just focus on operating their restaurant and serving great product.
Very nice. I mean, change is such a big part. And when you think about people who've been in the business for a long time, they get very set in their ways. Sometimes they get set into the culture. And we have to be thinking about what that culture is ultimately doing in terms of evolving to keep up with change. I remember there's a really great book by O'Connor called Managing and Leading at the Speed of Change. And the principles and concepts in there are hard work. I mean, let's be fair, it really is bloody hard work, because it's so easy to fall into a groove where people are doing their job and you're doing a great job of leading them and doing all those things.
Yeah.
But there has to come that point. And I think where we talked earlier about the DE&I stuff, or however you phrase it, ED&I, whichever, there's a mixture of letters. When you bring those in, we have to change as a culture. We have to be more accepting and embracing and create the belonging. Right. But overall, those changes and any other change can be hard to put into place in a culture that's quite set. So when you say keep bringing in fresh things, what are probably some of the biggest things that you've brought in where you've seen almost a seismic shift within your culture where you've gone, yes, we're keeping up?
For sure. So, when our current owner bought the business in 2018, we knew we wanted to scale the business. And how could we go from having 35 technicians to 60 technicians and expand our reach? And we knew we really had to strip the business down to the rafters. So we completely stripped it. We invested, over $1 million into a financial ERP, a field service operating ERP platform. And, because the system we were using before wasn't built to scale at the level we needed to. So that was a major change and overhaul. In comes a new owner, getting rid of our operating system and completely starting fresh with a new one. So that was, I would say, one of the largest changes we brought to the business. And it certainly required a lot of work. The efforts around, that initiative or project was connecting with employees one-on-one as group meetings, explaining what this change will bring to the business, why the reasons behind it, and over communicating and communicating every step of the process along the entire way. For us, it's being front and center. We don't hold back from our employees. We are transparent. We are transparent leaders and business leaders, and it's sharing the reasons why, what it's in it for our employees, and importantly, what does that mean for our customers and the product and services that we deliver.
Michael, I want to build on that a little bit because it's a great point. I want you to share one of the methods that you used to introduce change, to get that momentum behind change, as Simon mentioned, and how important it was. And I'll just give you a hint at what I'm looking for here, because you and I worked on it for a large period of time. And it wasn't walking into the boardroom and having all the staff there and just saying, well, this is our goal. This is the direction we're going. Let's get on board and being all enthusiastic. But you came up with the concept and you introduced something more along the lines, instead of just a goal, you called it the dream, your dream. You really personalized it for TFI, and then you shared that. Just share a little bit about how you did that, because I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, so in and around the time when we let's call rebuilding TFI, and so
Reinventing.
Reinventing, exactly. We really thought we're focusing on what's our mission statement, and we're kind of a antiquated or I guess concept. And so we had a dream, and we thought we want this, the passion that we have for our business, the passion that I have in the business, the belief in the product, and the services that we provide, and the difference that it brings to restaurant operators. It sounds very hokey, and we joke around and we say, you really drank the TFI Kool-Aid, but it's the truth. Yeah. It is that passion and the passion that we had and we have and the belief in our product is what's translated to our customers, and they really feel that, and that's why they continue to call us every single day, and and as we support them in their business. So that really is our dream. And then I think you can tell how excited I am when I talk about it, because our staff feel the same way. And it's continuously leading with this passion and supporting our dreams and the difference that we want to bring to the food service industry and our market. That contributes to our success as well.
Thank you. I got to see that firsthand, and the dream that you shared with your staff and how they got on board with it, not just because it was a goal and we have to go after it, but they really bought into the fact that, wow, this is really great. I want this to be my dream as well, service oriented, helping out our clients and people. And then everybody became partners in this dream, pulling on the same direction, rowing the same direction as well. Absolutely incredible. Yeah,
exactly. Thank you so much. Yeah, and I would just add that I think just through the bringing through our different service programs and always taking it back to putting our customer and our people first. That is really what drives and the momentum that helps us see these programs through from conception right down to execution into the market. It's and then repeatedly reinforcing that message, not only internally, but then externally with our customers.
Wow, who wouldn't want to be part of that team? That's a team I want to play on and be part of. So that's great. Scott, what have you got for Michael today? What are you thinking about what he's saying?
So I've made a bunch of notes here because I'm actually paying attention for once. So Michael, you've made a bunch of comments here, and I want to challenge you, but sort of constructively. Because the things that you've talked about, seeking to understand, listening and being patient, connecting with employees, lots of communication, putting customer and people first. Every company says that, right? So what is it about? So there's the idea, there's the goal, but then there's the actual execution of it. What would you say is the difference between you actually saying, these are the things we're going to make important, and actually being able to do it and live it? Because I feel like and I don't know, bigger companies really struggle with this. So what would you say is the secret sauce or a couple of things that allowed you to really make these things happen, as opposed to just being lip service, which we see a lot of times from upper management?
No, that's fair. I would say, because we've built this from the ground up, not just me, but our senior leaderships in our senior leadership team, our management team, we've all been instrumental in this change. And so it's not an experienced leader coming in and trying to drop in this model and say it's worked at another business, let's just do it this way. We've really created this our entire operating system and our offering together as a team. We've learned, we've made mistakes, we've struggled through it, we've tried certain things that didn't work and went back to the drawing board. We very much, the leadership team that we have in our business today, we very much have come through the ranks together, and being able to experience all of this positive change and navigating problems that we're facing together. And I really mean it by saying we've done it together. It hasn't been myself on my own or our CEO and just driving these changes. I mean, we're certainly setting the vision, and we're building it together with all of our teams, and we're learning together as well.
That's
cool.
I
like that. That's huge. So this is leading through change piece. I just want to expand a bit on this. And to me, you're empowering voices as well. So the food sector faces constant change. And I learned that in working with you, from supply chain pressures to shifting consumer expectations. And how do you approach decision-making during uncertain times? Because a lot of leaders get paralyzed by needing to make decisions in a timely fashion, and perhaps the outcome and impact of them. And how do you ensure that diverse perspective across your team are heard, as you said that you do, valued and integrated into the strategy and these decisions? How do you go about that?
Yeah, I would say, first and foremost, we always lead with our customers in mind. TFI is nothing without our customers. And it's very important that, we make decisions based for our customers. How is that going to affect our customers? And, it's not just myself making these decisions. We lead, as you mentioned, and we certainly do, we lead very collaboratively. And so it's bringing forth a challenge and empowering our people to offer their insights and feedback. And I want to know what you think. I know what I think, but maybe what I think is wrong. And so it's it's coming together and making a decision collectively that puts our customers first and our people shortly thereafter.
Yeah, that's great. You're one of the few leaders that I've worked with, and this is a challenge because I was challenged with it in the past, that doesn't come into a meeting with the outcome already in mind and just drive towards that.
No.
This is what I want out of my staff. I'm going to listen to them and smile, and then we're going to go do this anyways. You actually do listen to the ideas of the good people that you have on staff and go, I hadn't thought of that. You bring that authenticity of yourself, but that vulnerability too, to say, I didn't think of that. That's a good idea. You don't always have to be the brightest and the right one in the room, even when you're leading a team. And then I assume that really makes everybody get on board more when they hear that their voices are heard, correct?
Yeah, very much so. And I'll share, an experience that we've had. So, we've gone through, a few different variations of senior leadership meetings and teams. So when I certainly stepped into this role, together with my Vice President of Operations, Aaron McKinnon, and our CFO, Hart Levine, we wanted to reformulate, restructure and rebuild our senior leaders. And we promoted many from within the business. And it's because, we saw their natural leadership skill. We saw obviously how intelligent and thoughtful and how well performing these individuals are. And we wanted to build this team, from the ground up, so to speak. And we wanted to hear from them. And at the beginning, when we got together as a group, it, was very much, let's follow a meeting structure. Let's tackle, good news and issues and problems. And then we found that, we were just kind of going in circles having these conversations. And so, we went back to the drawing board, restructured these meetings and made some changes within this team. And we continued to empower the individuals that we want to hear from them. The last thing we want to do is have these meetings and have myself and Aaron or Hart just go on and on and on about talking. We want to hear from our people, as we mentioned. You know what I mean? I'd rather go to these meetings and not say a word and have our people bring forward what they're thinking. I want to hear your thoughts. And one of the things I learned as soon as I started here at TFI, and I learned this from our CEO, Will Moyer, and it's something that we have adopted, that I've adopted, and I know that all of our people have adopted, is we will never fault somebody for trying something and it not working. The important part is that they tried something. And that's that core value is something that we continue to breathe and instill within our people. We want those fresh ideas and we want to hear from you. And it's very cliche to say, no idea is a bad idea, but it's the truth, right? I know how many times have we heard that, or no question is a bad question. Ask away. And I'll share a quick little story. I had an employee come into my office, and they had received an offer from a previous employer that was, a competing offer. And this person broke out in tears, telling me that this is going on, and I said, stop. I said they were so nervous to tell me. And the first thing I stood up and I said, I'm so happy you came to tell me. I said, whatever it is, we'll figure it out. But the fact that you've come to me to have a conversation, it warmed my heart. And it really, that for me showed that, the type of people that I'm mentoring and bringing up, and the type of business that we are, it really touched me. I mean, we were able to work it out, and it worked out really well. But my biggest takeaway out of all of that was that this individual came to me to have a discussion. It wasn't just like, okay, well, I'm going to go, hey, see you later. And, that continued to build on how I lead as an individual. And I said, always seeking first to understand. And I never wanted to be that leader that, instills fear in people. I mean, there's a way to lead with compassion and understanding and empathy, but all the while hold people accountable and to their roles and to their performance.
Wow, that's really great.
It's awesome, right?
Be able to do their job. They've got to be able to do their job, and people have to be able to make decisions. But I love the idea that you've got this concept where people are allowed to fail. And I suppose ultimately in many businesses, the simple reality is we just have to give them permission, because there are people in the business who can catch them when they fall. No, we're not, no one's dying here. We're running a business. We have systems which will catch us. So if you want to try something new, that's great. If you screw it up, say sorry, but don't ask permission, the old cliche.
But learn from it too, right?
You what?
But also learn from it.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And use that. I mean, we're in the service business. And so the service business, it's not perfect. And I tell all of our customers that, and we tell all of our people that as well. There's going to be mistakes. It's restaurant equipment. The reality of the restaurant industry and equipment is that it will break from time to time. And that was a big, a significant transition, on our sales team as well. For years, I would say, our older generation salespeople, may have been hesitant to discuss service throughout the sales process, but it very much is a reality of the equipment that we sell. And over the years, as we've built our service business and developed planned maintenance programs, comprehensive service contracts, that generation began to see the importance of it, and now it's used as a value-added tool when doing business with customers. For chains to come to TFI and know that there's a support infrastructure from coast to coast by virtue of our service network, that sets us apart from all of our customers every single day. From all of our competitors every single day.
I have a quick question, because I know Rick's getting ready to do his big deal now, because I can just tell he's got that energy about him. I don't know Rick as well as you do, but I can tell. Yeah. So you mentioned that you joined as a salesperson, and I can't help but wonder, how did coming through the ranks as a salesperson help you in the leadership role that you're in today?
Okay, thank you. That's a great question.
That's why I'm here, Michael. I have to carry the, I have to carry the show.
Once in a while, a squirrel finds a nut.
Even if you start your question with a Carrie Bradshaw, I couldn't help but wonder. And just like that.
Michael, told you what you were in for today. Go ahead.
I love it. This is fantastic. So definitely, I think, when I joined TFI, I started selling our service. And I think that was the first advantage. Understanding our equipment by virtue of the service that we provide and provide to our customers, that was one area. And then quickly moving over to selling equipment. And then, of course, managing, our equipment sales teams, and then our overall, our strategic sales team, which focus on selling service. It gave me, first and foremost, the understanding of our customer and what their expectations are as it relates to equipment running in their businesses. It also gave me a deep understanding of how our service delivery process and, how our techs perform on site. I remember one of the first few days of working at TFI, I went on ride-alongs with technicians, and this was a great great suggestion by our CEO, and it's just understanding what a day in the life of a technician is. I think we have 62 technicians today, and they're put under a lot of work. They're in and out of restaurants, under greasy grills, in behind, fryers and ice cream machines, and understanding not only what they do as a technicians, but then how they interact with customers. So that was the one area. On the equipment sales side, it was, working with our veteran sales team, going on ride-alongs and sitting with them and hearing how they interact with their customers. So it gave me the ability to understand every aspect of our business, and then, truly believing in the product and services that we provide and seeing it firsthand. It's one thing for me to say, I believe we can drive uptime and keep your customers happy. Yeah, that's one thing to say it, but then to see it and witness it firsthand and see how important our service support infrastructure is to our customers.
Mm-hmm.
We deal with many chains and we deal with many independent operators. And you have an independent operator who runs an ice cream machine through the summer months, and they count on that machine to be running. And it's important that we can deliver and meet their expectations on response times, on first-time fixes, because they count on that machine to turn a profit for them to be successful. So it's translating that message into a core value, and then continuing, and then pushing that through our entire business, because we are important. Because without that, so many of our customers cannot be successful, and we
So
want to drive
I
success.
love your passion for that, and that's exactly what I was sort of fishing for, right? It's just the salespeople and sales leaders who have been on the front line, they have that insight. So you can love the passion, love the answer, and I know that Rick's shaking right now because it's
I've got one more question for him, because I mean, we all have side hustle, side hobbies, and practices and things like that. And Simon's got all his Lego behind him. Not still playing hockey.
I'm a weightlifter, bodybuilder.
That was my line. Okay, and I do whatever I do, but not all of us, have this as a sideline as well. So, what got you into modeling? And I got to say one thing: the funniest time was when I was driving home one day, and we'd done work together, and I'm driving home one day, and I do a double take like this, and I go, "Is that? Oh my God, it is Michael Cheung's face on a bus driving by me like this for a local drugstore." And I don't know if that was the start of it or what, but you've even been with Harry Rosen and done work with them as well for menswear. Why?
Yes.
How did you get into this? It looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly is a lot of fun. So, I've always been fancied myself a creative person, and I always wanted to do modeling. And then this is a long story, but I'll keep it brief. I grew up, and I played hockey quite competitively. I struggled towards, I'd say, as I was towards the exiting my teens and into my 20s, and just struggling with trying to be comfortable with myself. And in doing so, I quit playing hockey. And from the time that I quit playing hockey till the time that I finished school, I ended up putting on a bunch of weight. Taking it back to my why I wanted to model. So as a kid, I thought I was always interested in that industry. I thought it would be something cool. I took a stab at it when I was 15. I was a little too young. Then, of course, I went through playing hockey, gaining all the weight, and I just thought, you know what, this isn't, it's not for me. I kind of gave up on that. Well, it wasn't until I was able to transform myself, get back to a healthier way of living. And, I reached a point in my life where I didn't want to go through life and regret it and say I should have done this, and I didn't do it. And so there was an Instagram ad. I took a chance. I sent some pictures, and before you know it, I had meetings with 2 agencies and signed with 2 different agencies. And I said, had zero experience. Let's go and try this. And then I've done some work over the years, and it's been it's done so much for me from a confidence perspective, and then also it's just a great creative outlet. You meet great people, and I love to do it. It's a lot of fun, and so here we are today.
Thank you,
And
Michael.
now the moment you've all been waiting for.
Here
It's
he
time
goes.
for Ricky's recap. Take it away, Ricky.
Scott's favorite part of the show.
Oh, it's the highlight.
I'll be upfront and authentic with you. I had all my notes written down, and then my tablet crapped out on me. So I'm going to need the assistance of my co-host as well. But what a recap when somebody goes from sales to being the president of the organization, from grassroots right up on through. And now as a leader, using authenticity to empower and sharing dreams instead of goals to create a culture where everybody's heard and contributes. And it shows in the tenure of the company, average 15 years up to 45, absolutely incredible. And he's also shown us that you can lead an organization and people and still have a side hustle that makes you happy, which I think is really important as well. I'm going to pass it over quickly to Scott. One thing, 10 seconds.
So my words, I feel like that what helped you be as successful as you are is first getting comfortable with who you were and getting comfortable in your own skin. And that allowed you to be an even better leader.
Beautiful. Simon, what's your favorite point from today?
I think majoritively it's about the belief in the company. And I think that the passion that you have for the business is infectious. And that passion is an infectious form of leadership, isn't it? Because if you talked about people drinking the Kool-Aid, well, if you don't believe in the product and you don't believe in your business, it doesn't matter who you are, what you are, or how you are. No one's going to believe. So I love the fact that you've brought that, and that people should drink the Kool-Aid a little bit more. You should be about looking at your products and thinking about how they make a difference to your people. But the one thing I think I really take away is that you are working within hospitality, and that's something that's very, very close to my heart from my early careers in hotels. And I think that when we start to treat our people in a hospitality way, we know then that our customers are going to be looked after. It's just a natural progression. And so I really think that that's something really valuable to take away from today. Ignore all the technical side of it. Just think about what you're saying to your people. Are you actually delivering the benefits of what your product does to your people? And are they then delivering it to your customers? And that just seems like a logical progression to me. So it's been really good.
Excellent. Michael, thank you. Michael, where can people reach out to you? Because people want to learn more about you. They want to be around you. You're a great guy, and just learn more about your leadership style that's been so successful.
Yeah, I mean, feel free. You can just contact TFI at our 1-800 number. So it's 1-800-387-2529. That's 1-800-387-2529. This is now an infomercial.
And if you act right now,
Raiders are standing by.
You'll save 20%. No.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah. Okay, LinkedIn is a good spot, right?
LinkedIn's a good spot. Just give us a call at the office, leave me a message, and someone will certainly, I'll certainly reach out by all means.
Absolutely incredible. Thanks for being on here today, Michael. We appreciate it. Scott, who have we got coming up next on the Sales Lab?
Next, so here we are bringing in friends and colleagues. Next week, my friend and Simon's Wade Ball of a small to mid-size IT firm here in Western Canada that we've both done some work with will be on the show.
Absolutely great. Michael, thanks for being here. It's been a really great Sales Lab podcast. We look forward to everybody on our next episode as well.
Thank you for attending the Sales Slap podcast. Feel free to reach out to your hosts, Rick, Simon, and Scott.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. We'll get you on the rebound. Bye for now.
Take care.
He's gone.